Did you know that your body pH can affect things like sweat irritation, sensitivity, and even boob rash? Turns out most women think that sweat is a problem when in reality, sweat is literally just a fraction of the problem. Once you actually understand what is happening with your skin, it is so much easier to prevent discomfort instead of reacting to it. Hi, I'm Paige. I'm also known as the pH lady. And on this channel, I'm going to be discussing things that us women experience all the time, but we're not talking about it. There's things like sweat, irritation, skin sensitivity, friction, and body pH. Just a side note, I have a business called Body pH, which offers bra liners to help women with boob sweat and boob rash. So many of us women are dealing with discomfort every single day, but we're just being provided with quick fixes to deal with it. But if we actually understand what is happening with our skin, we can make better choices for comfort and our skin health. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing what body pH is, how sweat affects your skin, why irritation happens, and what generally helps. Let's kick things off really simple. Our skin has something called a pH balance. Now, when you hear pH, do you think chemistry class? Because I know I do, because I used to think pH was an element on the periodic table, but pH is not an element. I'm going to say this loud and clear. It's not an element and it's not on the periodic table, guys. I'm not here to teach you false information. What exactly is pH? pH stands for power or potential of hydrogen, and it's a measure to test to see how acidic or alkaline something is. And it runs on a scale between 0 to 14. So anything below 7 is acidic and anything above 7 is alkaline. And anything in the center, which is on the scale of 7, is literally neutral. So I believe water falls on the neutral line. And here's where our skin comes in. Healthy skin sits on the pH scale between 4.5 and 5.5. So that means our skin is actually slightly acidic. That's just part of the function of our skin. So our skin has a thin protective layer on the surface, which is called the acid mantle. The acid mantle is our body's first line of defense, and it does 4 important things. So it protects our skin from irritation, supports healthy bacteria on our skin, helps to lock in moisture and keep our skin hydrated, and it also helps to keep our skin resilient. So in order for it to recover from small stresses and to heal properly. Think of your acid mantle as your skin's invisible armor, because it is also connected to something called the skin barrier. And when our skin barrier is healthy, our skin can actually feel calmer, smoother, and less reactive. However, when that pH balance is disrupted, you will start to notice discomfort. And that's when you're likely to notice redness, sensitivity, itching, irritation, odour, flare-ups, and chafing. Here's something that I want to be clear about from the start, okay, you guys? Sweat is healthy and it's normal. Our body sweats to regulate its temperature, cool itself down, and remove excess heat from the body. So sweat itself isn't bad. But here's where things get complicated. Sweat isn't the problem. Turns out that trapped moisture is. When sweat sits against your skin, especially in areas where it can't easily evaporate, it starts to change the environment around it. It raises the local pH, softens the skin, and creates an environment where bacteria might find quite welcoming. And when bacteria breaks down the proteins and fats in sweat, that is where odour starts to appear. That's where irritation starts, and that's when your skin barrier starts to weaken. The key areas that this can happen are underneath your arms, underneath your breasts. If you're quite a busty woman, then that's going to happen. And also in between the thighs. So the issue isn't that you sweat. The issue is that the sweat is not being properly managed. And over time, that creates a pH environment where your skin cannot defend itself so easily. Once you understand that, a lot of things will start to make more sense. This is why sweat-prone areas are usually more sensitive, and honestly, this is why a lot of women experience underboob irritation. Not all skin on your body behaves the same way. Some areas are especially vulnerable to pH imbalance, and that is underneath the breasts. And this is an area that is not really spoken about in open discussions. Let's think about what's happening here. Skin is resting against skin. There's limited airflow, sweat has nowhere to go, and the heat builds up. And on top of that, there is constant movement and friction from our clothing and bras throughout the whole day. And that combination creates the perfect environment for pH disruption and the discomfort that follows. Now, if you experience redness, dampness, irritation, or odour in that area, it's not a hygiene failure. And it's not your fault. This is just an area that faces unique challenges every single day, and a lot of skincare advice just completely ignores that. Many of us women have spent years thinking that discomfort was just something we just had to deal with and live with. We've tried powders, we've tried washing more, we've tried different bras, and nothing has quite fixed it because we weren't addressing the actual issue. Our underboob area doesn't need to be overtreated, it just needs to be supported. So how do you know if your skin pH is disrupted? Our bodies are usually quite good at communicating with us when something feels off, but we just haven't been taught on how to listen to it in the right way. Here are some of the most common signs. Increased irritation. So your skin can become more reactive to fabrics and products. There's chafing and friction discomfort. Moisture softens the skin, and softened skin is more vulnerable to rubbing and soreness. There's sensitivity and stinging. Skin that normally feels fine starts to feel tender or comfortable to touch. There's also odour changes, and not just regular body odour. This is something that feels different, a bit more intense, a bit more persistent. And this happens when the bacterial balance on our skin shifts. Here's one common sign that does surprise people, that's dryness and tightness. Even skin that's producing a lot of sweat can be dehydrated underneath if the skin barrier has been compromised. All of these common signs are signals that your body just needs more balance and support. And the good news is, once you know what to look out for, it becomes so much easier to address. Some of these things might surprise you, and it's a lot of things that we would not even give a second thought about. One is overwashing with harsh soaps. Turns out that a lot of soaps on the market are highly alkaline, between 8. These can leave our skin feeling so much drier and a lot more vulnerable than before. Another reason is tight, non-breathable fabrics. Synthetic fabrics trap heat and moisture against your skin, which creates a perfect environment where pH disruption thrives. The second reason is staying in damp clothes after sweating. Even if we sit in wet clothing for a little while, that gives trapped moisture time to affect your skin barrier. Another reason is using heavy powders and thick creams in skin folds. Both of these products can mix with sweat and create a layer that actually stops the skin from breathing. And this can make odour and irritation worse, not better. Another reason is ignoring friction until irritation appears. By the time your skin is sore and red, the acid mantle's already been damaged. And the goal here is to reduce friction before it becomes a problem. Most of us women are actually doing these things on a regular basis because we just weren't given the right information. But don't worry, because this is exactly what this channel is here to change. The goal here isn't to stop you from sweating or fight against biology. The goal here is to create the right conditions where your skin can feel balanced, supported, and protected throughout the day. Here's what can actually help. Try switching to pH balanced cleansers or cleansers that are aimed specifically at sensitive skin. Oh my gosh, my iPhone just ran out of storage and I literally just had to go into the apps and my photo album to delete a bunch of stuff, and I've just obviously natural lighting outside has changed and I now have to put a camera light on. I can't believe that. That is actually stressful. I don't know how people on YouTube deal with this, but anyways, as I was saying, so look for something labeled 5.5 or something that's aimed at sensitive prone skin. This will work better with your acid mantle because it won't strip it away every single time that you wash yourself. Another thing you could do to help is wear breathable fabrics. So cotton, linen, silk, those allow airflow to the skin and lifts moisture away from it. The difference this makes is quite significant. This is an organic cotton top. I love it. And no issues with sweating, either under the arms or underneath the breasts, so we're good. Another thing you can do is manage moisture early before it becomes a problem. So that's keeping skin dry throughout the day, especially in high friction areas. This helps to maintain comfort and keeps the skin environment stable. Another way to help is to reduce friction with soft supportive layers. So it's anything that sits between the skin and fabric of your tops or clothing, so that absorbs moisture and protects the skin surface, which helps to preserve the acid mantle that we talked about earlier. Another way to help is drink enough water. I cannot stress enough, you need to keep your body hydrated because it supports your skin barrier from within. Remember, a well-hydrated skin barrier is a more resilient skin barrier. Products like bra liners offers simple, effective support because they absorb moisture, reduce friction, and support your body's natural defenses. These are great because they work with your body, not against it. So if you've ever had to deal with things like sweat irritation, sensitivity, or discomfort, I really hope that this video helped you, because once you figure out the cause of these problems, it's so much easier to find ways to prevent them. Leave a comment below and let me know which part of this video surprised you the most. If you want to see or hear more open conversations about sweat, skin, pH, and comfort, make sure you subscribe. Until next time, I hope that this video brings you pH balance in comfort, support, and confidence. Bye guys.